Hello, everybody, and welcome to Juicy Bullet Film Reviews, I think is what we decided
Yeah,
to
Juicy
call
Bullet
this.
film reviews.
We'll
Film
call it
reviews
50
sounds great.
million things over the course of the series. It's fine, don't worry about it.
Probably.
So today, it's our first one. We were recommended a film called The Platform, which Thaniel is brave enough to volunteer to do the pronunciation of the names and things, because I don't want to butcher
Yeah.
it.
El Hoyo was the original pronunciation. It is a Spanish film. It literally translates to the whole. Um, was directed by Mr. Gauder Gaztelu Ureta.
Something along them lines.
Solana. I feel like I did it better than John would.
Close
So.
enough. Yep. And the funny thing is, I've actually taken Spanish classes.
And I have not.
And he
I
has
took
not.
German.
Yeah. Which is what I wanted to take, but they cut the German program the year I was eligible to take a foreign language. That was upsetting.
Homeschooled.
Yeah. Wasn't. Public school. Haha. American public education system. Nailed it. Anyway, so we're here to talk about the movie The Platform, which was recommended to us by a viewer. And we've both taken notes
Yes.
of things that we've noticed, that we noticed in the film, questions we had, and I am going to be completely honest. I had more questions than answers throughout this film.
I feel like I had a lot of questions too, but I feel like either I answered them on my own or most of them got answered by the end of the film. So we'll see.
Okay. Would
We'll
you
see
like
if we have the same questions.
would you like to start off?
Yes, no, there was something that definitely hit me when the movie first starts.
Okay.
Um, it was kind of like paraphrasing those below, and the ones who fall.
Yes.
So right then and there, I felt like this movie was going to directly impact as far as kind of quoting on how society is nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of feel like I hit the nail on the head on there as we talk through this video.
Yeah.
Because I definitely got society vibes.
Mm-hmm.
It was very interesting how they started off the movie. Because, in the trailer, it doesn't start. It's literally nothing but death and just crazy shenanigans that you kind of see as the movie progresses. But the first bit of the movie, you see all these waiters, violinists, the chefs, the main I'm going to assume is the maitre d'. Just making sure everything's perfect.
Yep.
And then it goes to the pit.
Yes. Very stark contrast.
Yeah, now I understand. I actually enjoy the entire movie except for the one part where I almost lost my dinner. I thought
there were a few moments that could make people lose their dinner in this film.
I feel like I have a steel stomach, and there were certain parts where I was like, nope. I feel like I'm gonna throw up.
I had one.
I needed to watch this though. So if you feel like if you feel like you have a weak stomach,
yeah,
definitely don't eat. Definitely don't eat while watching this movie.
This is not a dinner and a movie sort of movie.
No, it's not.
I don't suggest that.
It's at best, it's like sitting on the couch with a bowl of popcorn.
Yeah, and you might not touch the popcorn. Just after the first 10 minutes of the movie, you probably won't touch the popcorn.
Now that being said, my only other complaint about this movie, and I have no complaints after this. I understand it's a Spanish film,
yes.
And it kind of made me feel like I was 20 years back, 15 years back, where in English, it doesn't fit the mouth. With some of the Spanish actors, you can tell. I mean, at first you was like, okay, it's their voice. I feel like it might be like with Gorik, the main character,
Hmm.
and the old man that's with him in the first bit, Mr. Tremagasi. There are certain things that they say that it doesn't translate well from English to Spanish and from
Correct.
Spanish to English.
Yep.
Now, I took the time, like whenever I was like writing down my notes, I listened to it in English.
Hmm.
I went back. I had the time. I went back and listened to it in Spanish, and it's actually not bad in like the European Spanish.
Okay.
So since I watch anime, a lot of anime, I wouldn't mind watching this movie again in its original dialect.
Right. Like
I
without
probably would
the
not watch it.
English.
I'll probably not watch it in English again.
Right.
That's another thing I had in mind. What about yourself?
Okay. So my thing that I keyed in on right at the beginning was the imagery of like the close up of their eyes as they opened their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
It was very interesting to me that they would go from, like, like you said before, the kitchens above where they were cooking all of this food, and these people were dressed really well, and like clearly these are well-to-do sort of people. And then it goes to the stark contrast of like super close up on an eyeball, and like showing, you could see very clearly like all the little lines in the irises of their eyes.
Just everything.
And it intrigued me immediately, that that's how they chose to start off the part of the movie in the pit. Um, just because even that is in stark contrast to everything else that happens in the pit.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's this thing where it's a super close up image of a, like, the most delicate part of a creature, and then most of the movie is death and people shitting in people's faces, but we'll get there.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely get there. I definitely wrote that down in my notes.
And the next thing I have written in my notes is the premise is explained right at the beginning of the film. So, like,
Yes,
right when the
indeed it
film
is.
begins, you get the scene above where the people are cooking the food. You get the imagery of the eye. Then you have your main character talking to his first, I'm going to call it cellmate, because it's basically what it is.
Yes,
Um, and this
flatmate.
man, yeah, this old man that he was paired with at the beginning of the film, literally explains the entire film within the first 20 minutes of the film. Like, it tells you the entire premise of like what's happening, why it's happening, the structure of everything. He just straight up explains it, which in my mind was like, how does he know all of the information that he's giving? Because obviously I hadn't watched the rest of the film yet, so I'm like, how does he know all this? Which is my next note. The roommate understands a lot about how it works. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like, he's been there
Now,
for a while.
what really got me was so like you said, Mr. Tremagasi.
Yes.
He understands how everything works.
Hmm.
He's up with the social cue. Now, the main character, in this movie, he tries to talk to the people who are lower,
Yep.
you know, and the old man immediately says, "Don't talk to them; they're below us."
Hmm.
And so that's kind of, I mean, normal storm of like the norm of society today is like if there is someone who's like, whether it be in job or
Hmm.
money or financial, like financial standing, house standing, you name it,
Yep.
and it's like, oh, they're below us, they don't mean anything, we're better than them.
Exactly.
um don't talk to them. And then immediately he tries to talk to the people above, and he says, don't waste your time, they're not going to listen to us, they're above us. Same
Hmm.
thing. We might be in the middle medium norm but oh, they're above us. They're not going to listen to us anyway. They feel like they're better than us.
Exactly.
Now, I I find I didn't write this in my notes, but I found it very funny how the old man uses the word obviously.
Yeah, yeah, I
Oh,
found it kind of funny a lot too. And most of the things that he was saying weren't obvious.
no, no, not at all. Um, and I will say this though, whenever he was, I find it very interesting that the main character, well, I don't find it interesting now, but whenever I was first watching it, I found it interesting how he went there willingly. Most
Hmm.
people some people there went willingly.
That was actually my
Um,
next note that I made.
some people went there willingly,
Hmm.
but not everybody.
Hmm.
Someone, either they killed someone or, like,
Yeah.
so with the old man, I'm not going to get into a long story with this, but essentially he bought a knife, or he does what a lot of people do. They watch infomercials. They buy something that they don't need. They
Hmm.
buy it, and guess the next night, the thing that he just bought, there was a better version of it. Sorry to call you out, iPhone, but you do it too. Um,
All the time for hundreds of dollars a piece.
and you guys don't even change anything. And when you do, it's
Oh,
something
no.
crucial that
They
everyone
take away
wanted.
features. Like
They
a
take
headphone
away
jack.
features. But that's enough on iPhone. But you get the
I
point.
could rip on Apple all
Um,
day. I could do that all day.
yeah, I'm
That could be a whole nother video.
Android. That could be a whole nother video. But like I said, so what does he do? He gets mad and he throws his TV. He ends up killing somebody,
Yep.
and he goes to jail. Right? He goes. It's either it was the psych ward
Yep.
or he goes to the pit. Now, I found it very
Obviously.
interesting. I found it very interesting that anybody and everybody can choose one thing to take with them.
Yes.
The main guy chose a book. Old
Yeah.
man chose the knife, the improved knife that he didn't get the first time.
Yep.
Oh man, but yeah, it was so. Apparently, these people are on these floors for a month,
Yes. They're on the floors
but
for a
they don't.
month and then they're put to sleep with gas and then they wake up on a completely different floor.
Yeah, I found that very interesting. So, I think one of the questions that I had that wasn't really ever answered, which I don't think would ever be answered,
Hmm.
you know, the first comment was there were 150 floors.
Yes.
So, which, like I said, first comment, and we'll get to the later part in the video.
Hmm.
But there was 150 floors. What made them what made them decide who goes on the 150 floor 1 month, and then they get to go on floor 6 the
I
next month?
I feel like it was probably just completely random.
That's what I feel like
Like
too.
they just basically stuck it into, I don't know, Excel and was like, "Here you go. Do this for me. Come up with a random thing. I don't know. Here you go. Just chuck some names,
Also, another
put some names
very
in a hat, and you stay with your roommate. If your roommate survives through the full month, you stay with the same
yes,
roommate.
I also found it very interesting that in the beginning it kind of explains is like just because they were on floor 48 at the beginning of the
Yes.
film.
Yes, they were.
Um, I found it very interesting that just because they were on floor 48 doesn't mean for that month that they have to stay on their floor.
Correct.
There were no rules. I mean, like, if they
Yeah.
managed to find a way up, they could go up.
Yep.
If they wanted to go down with the platform, they can go down with the platform.
Yep.
Which I found very interesting because it's like if you took any food like the main character does with the apple,
Hmm.
because they can either make the room go extremely hot or extremely cold
Yep.
to the point where it would kill you.
Correct.
So the fact that the food couldn't stay on the level, and like the food had to stay on the platform. However,
Mm-hmm.
the platmates couldn't. They didn't have to stay on their level.
Correct.
That was kind of interesting
Yeah,
to me.
yeah, I found that a little intriguing as well. Which actually, my next note that I had written, well, other than
Mm-hmm.
I had an extra part, to the fact that the main character volunteered to be there, like he volunteered to be there as a way to quit smoking and to gain a
Not
degree
even
of
that,
some sort.
to get a diploma.
Yeah, he was trying to quit smoking, and they offered him a degree for going through 6 months, I believe, in the pit. I
Five
don't remember
months.
exactly.
Hold on. So what?
I
48.
feel like it was either 5 or 6 months, that he was supposed to stay in the pit.
He had one. He at the end of the film, he had one.
Yes.
He had one. So
Yeah, at
48.
the end of the
I
film, he
actually had
had
this in my
1
notes.
month left, or was just ending his final month. I don't remember.
So he was throughout the film. He was on that one, that one, that one. I feel like he had 5 months because he
Because
was
he
on his
had that,
last month.
yeah, he had that woman as his mate for at least 2 months. Might have been 3.
Yes. So he had five. It was 5 months because it was the man, the woman twice, um, the man that got shitted on, and then he had one more month to last. But the movie
Yeah,
didn't
you
go
just
that
call
far.
him the man who got shitted on.
I mean, I'll call him by his actual name later. Um, but yeah, so I feel like he had. I think it was 5 months.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact amount. Um,
Um,
but yeah, my next note was just something that intrigued me. Um,
mm,
it wasn't like a complete and total revelation or anything. It was the woman killed the people below. This concept intrigues me, is what I wrote. Like the whole
no, you know what?
concept
You're
of
right.
her
It
going
was
down on
good.
the platform and then just killing anyone who touched her.
Hmm.
Um, and that whole thing was just weird to me.
So
Um,
can confirm it. Can confirm it was 6 months. Um, you were right
okay.
because he had the old man twice.
Yes, he did. He
He
had
had
the
the
old man
woman
twice.
twice,
Yep.
and then he had Barut,
Yes, for
our
one
very
month.
lovable African American friend that got shitted on for 1 month, and then he had 1 month left, so it
Yes.
was 6 months. Continuing on though, yeah, I found it very interesting about she was trying to see talking about Miharu or Miharu,
Yes.
the mother. She
Yes.
was trying to find her child,
Yes.
um, which I found very interesting,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll get to that later.
Yes, because there's a whole like twist to that anyway.
Yeah,
So
let's talk about the old man for a little bit longer.
okay.
Um, now he did not like Gorink at all, from what I can tell at first. Um, he grew to like him
Yeah, over the course of the first month. Yes.
over the course of the first month on floor 48. Because the way they said it, at the beginning of the film, Mr. Trimagasi said that there were 150 levels, and the fact that 48 was a good level because even though the food was disgusting, by the time that it reached him, there was still food on the platform.
Correct. At least there was something
Later in this
edible.
movie, you see people spit on this food. You see
Mm.
people piss on it. You see people just just jump on top of the platform and just step their feet all up in it,
Oh yeah.
and then like eat what they can, and then just anyone that's basically just like make the food almost unedible to the people below them, which is
Correct.
another like kind of how some people do when people is like food are going to the homeless and they mess it up just intentionally,
Yeah.
you know. But I found it very interesting how the old man knew.
I'll wait for you to finish what you're gonna say, and then I'll say my point on what
Oh,
you.
just how the old man knew. I wonder how long the old man was there because he knew exactly when the gas. He could smell the gas, like he knew it
Yeah.
was coming.
He said he had
And then
been
he
there
woke.
for that he had 1 month left, and that he had been there for 11 months.
Okay, so he was
He
there
did
for
say
almost a
that.
year.
Yeah, he
Okay,
was there for almost a year.
I completely missed that then. I found it very interesting how he knew when the gas was coming, and he woke up first.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead with what you're going to say.
Now, what you were saying about the people making the food unedible, and you know, that sort of thing, with like the the way that it applies to like society in general, is like people who are up at the top typically don't give a flying fuck about the people that are below them. So they
Mm-hmm.
intentionally make those people's lives harder so that the people at the top can continue to enjoy their life of luxury and not feel like the people below them are going to rise above their station. You know, they people tend to take advantage of those below them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a it's I hate to use the word tradition in regards to like people of power or people who have like a high stature.
I
Um,
wouldn't even call it tradition. I would call it normalcy.
yeah, they tend to take advantage of the people below them and intentionally make life more difficult on them. So
But in that, yeah,
no, go ahead. If you have, because I
I
was
was
going to
saying,
move
but
on to another topic. So
oh, okay,
if
no,
you have
but then
something
no.
to say on
So
this, go ahead.
I do. So in that sense, though, um, at one point, someone could be on floor 55
Yes.
and they could literally shit in their food for level 56.
Yep.
And then the next day, the person who's on 56 could be on floor 1, and then the person who was on floor 55 could be on floor freaking 109.
Yep.
So
You
on
never
one
know.
end, you would think that you would be nicer to the person below
Because
you,
they might be above you
but
next
at the
month.
same time, we're all human,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not thinking in that regard.
No, they're thinking this month because they might not survive that month anyway. So they're just
Yeah,
living in right this moment, essentially.
they are living in the moment. I
Yeah.
agree. I definitely agree. No, what I was saying was before we move on to
Mm-hmm.
the next month in the movie, uh, I I did definitely see some dick. Like there was definite like I was
Yes.
wondering where the nudity was. I was wondering where the nudity was coming
Yes.
in.
And later in the movie, there's some tits too.
Yeah,
Um.
I was like, that's
Yes.
definitely a dick.
So there is some nudity in this, which is actually that leads me to my next thing I wrote, which this is a question. It it's also an observation. It's an observation
Okay.
and a question. Moreover, the question is why? Naked book reading yoga. Do you recall
I
this
don't have an
scene?
answer for that one. I don't have an answer for
I
that one. I wish
I I don't know what the fuck that was
I
about.
find it funny that I didn't question it. I'm just like, oh look,
I
that's
did.
that's
I
definitely that's
I
definitely some dick.
I saw that and I was like, why? Why does this exist in this film? Like, what is this? Is this young guy and an old man on opposite ends of a bed, like with one foot on the floor, one foot on the bed. They're butt fucking naked, by the way. And the young man is reading the book out loud, and I don't understand why. I, I don't get it.
Neither do I. But
Um,
if you want, we can move on to the next month.
yeah,
Month two, they were
yes,
on floor 202. No, that's third month. Sorry. You know what? I actually didn't.
yeah.
I managed to not write down the
Um,
level that they were on second month.
actually, it was, I believe, 202. No,
No,
No, no, no, no, no, no. It was the one before that. It was
it was third
100 something. Like
100. Yeah,
100
it was
uh
9 107.
something like that. It was
I
100
felt
something, or
I thought I had written that.
119 maybe.
So they were in the 100s though. They were in the
Yes.
lower
Yeah.
100s being. But yeah, no, we see Mr. Gorink tied up to his bed as he wakes up.
Yes. The old man explaining to him that he's going to eat little bits of him, but try to keep him alive so that the meat won't spoil, was his reasoning.
My little snail.
Yes. Yes. Which is ironic, considering you later find out that the one dish that the main
That his
character
favorite dish
wanted
was
was
escargot.
escargot. Yeah. Um, I thought it was kind of funny, actually, when
It was kind of
they
funny.
mentioned the escargot later, that he just happened to call. Or I mean, they did have a little bit of a conversation about, because he asked him if he'd ever been to France, and they were talking about eating
Mm-hmm.
the snails. Um, but still, it was kind of amusing to me.
Talking about his cleansing.
Yes. Um, even though, he was cutting a chunk out of Goring's leg. Uh,
Yeah, see, that's right then and there because there wasn't really much going on in that scene.
no.
For the most part, it was a lot of him just reading the book, him shaving, and just him like
Yeah.
just got the course of several days, just no food on the platform,
Yep.
and my girl Miharu injured this
Hmm.
man, and Mr. Gorink ended up finishing the kill.
Yes, he did.
And that is when I almost lost my dinner, as Miharu is playing baby bird mother and biting chunks of flesh off of this old man and chewing it up and then giving it to Gorink.
Funny enough, that was actually my next note. Was crazy woman cares for main character till he is better. Is what I wrote down. Because it showed that, yeah, she's kind of a crazy bitch, but at the same time, he was kind to her, and she was repaying that kindness, um,
Yep.
by saving his life,
Mm-hmm.
um, which I
Yeah,
found
no,
intriguing again.
and then she left after he was better, he was good enough. She left and went down the platform trying to find her
Yep.
child again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, can we talk about how many people she's probably killed
Oh, hundreds.
in the course in the course of how long? Like, okay, because we'll get to that part of the point of the video, but you know how many floors there are.
Yes.
I know how many floors there are,
Uh-huh.
and let's just assume that the administration is making sure that every month there's at least two people on each platform for every floor.
Yes.
Where in the hell are they finding these people and letting her get away with killing all of these men?
There are no rules.
Not to mention the ones that jump and kill themselves.
Oh, yeah. Which even through the course of the movie, you see at least 3 or 4 people jump.
So I just found that really interesting. So they didn't really like capitalize on month two. Now, the other thing that really
I
got me.
disagree, actually, because it shows
Oh,
the beginning of the breakdown of Goring, where he
okay, so they. Okay,
finally
yeah, you're
gives
right.
in and he eats the old man. Which this is where I
Yeah,
actually
and the
almost
maggot.
lost my dinner, was the maggots. That he like pushed a
That was my
maggot
second
off a
time.
chunk of flesh, ripped it off, and then ate it. Um, that was disgusting. And those
Protein,
maggots
baby.
were gigantic, by the way. They were huge. Um, it was absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
Uh,
Which makes me wonder,
was not a fan of that.
like, okay, A, most flies or most maggots come from flies.
Yes.
So how in the hell are they getting down there?
And we didn't see any flies.
We didn't see
Nobody
it. So I'm
complained about
assuming.
flies. And honestly, those maggots were big enough, they almost looked more like grubs.
So it makes me wonder: is like what's in the food?
I mean,
Because later on in the movie, the main guy over all the kitchen stuff, he goes ape shit over a piece of hair.
one hair. One
He
strand of
he
hair.
literally points out four different people who may have the same strand of hair. Literally holds it to this person's head and goes ape
One
shit.
strand of hair. But you know, with people like pissing and shitting in it and all that stuff, you're getting all of the literally shit out of people's systems. Like, you don't know what's in there. You don't know
Yeah,
what it was already in their system before they got to the pit.
that's
You
true
don't know what was going on
too.
there, so that could possibly
That's
be part of it.
true.
Also, you got to consider the fact that the old man admits while he's still alive that he has eaten people.
He
Um,
didn't kill. He didn't kill them, but he
no,
did eat them.
he did say he didn't kill anybody. That he ate a jumper is basically what happened. Somebody jumped, landed on the platform. There was no food on the platform. There was just a corpse. So he and his flatmate
Plotmate.
uh, ate the jumper. Um, which I mean, I kind of figured that they were going to, uh, like at least cover the idea of cannibalism in this movie. You know,
Mm-hmm.
considering it's a whole thing based upon surviving through having very little food.
I will say this though, because there's a lot of movies that deal in cannibalism. Um, there's a lot of different movies that deal with it.
Indeed.
Most movies I've seen that deal with cannibalism, however, I feel like this one was probably more on the gory side.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's what really got me because like the moment that I saw the platform and he explained how some people don't eat, I was like, okay, people are obviously eating people,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
but this one kind of got to the nitty gritty of it of all. So
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And it actually like shows like pulling
yeah,
parts of
pulling
person off
flesh.
and then putting it directly into their mouth. Like you see the whole process in one
And
take.
mind you, it looks like pork.
It
It
does.
really does.
It does.
It looks like pork. Then again, most human flesh looks like pork anyway,
Yes.
so
Yes, it does.
they can get away with that.
Yes.
Um, is there anything you want to hit on for floor
Um
two or the month
no, honestly,
two?
most of my notes were encompassing the first month. After that I started
Oh,
writing
oh,
significantly less notes. Because
oh, so
well,
it's bullet hour. Got you.
yeah. Yeah, I had significantly less notes because, like, at the beginning of the film is when you're the most intrigued because you're learning the minutia of everything. You're just figuring out like who the main character is as a person. You're watching him develop in this situation. However, he does develop a lot throughout the movie, honestly. Um, but
hmm
most of the things that really stood out to me were in that first month that he spent with the old
Oh
man.
shoot! All right, so I remember now. So I had messed up my notes. Um, 202 was the second month because the third month he went back up to like floor 55 with the
Uh
girl
no. I know
or
that 202 is one that he was on with the woman because it's underneath a note talking about the woman. And I wrote these in chronological order as I was watching the film.
what did I do then? Because they actually no, because they couldn't have been on 202 because they actually got good food or decent food.
No, because the second month with the woman, she hung herself immediately, remember? and he ended up eating her.
No, I'm talking about the first month with the woman.
Oh, the first month with the woman? Yeah, I don't know what floor they were on. But the second
They
month
were
with
on
the
like
woman is
floor.
when they were on
Yeah, no,
floor
second
202.
second month woman. Yeah, second month
Yeah.
of the woman that it was 202.
I think they were on
I,
floor
I
6. No. Floor 6 was the
no,
last
there.
month he was there.
Yeah,
That was the
it
one
was
with the black guy.
no, it was floor 7. But yeah, you're right. It was the black guy was with floor 7.
No, they were on 6.
No, so
I remember very vividly
no,
because he had a
no,
dream
no.
of the number 6 on the wall and then woke up and it showed 6. And the guy, the black guy was talking about to the guys on floor 5 because he was super
Well, that
excited
would
because he
make
was only
sense.
5
That would
floors away from the top.
okay, like what you just said there. It wouldn't make sense then because technically it would be 4 more levels to the top if he went from 6 to
Because
5,
top
it
where
would
the
be four
food
more
is floor
levels.
0. They marked it as floor 0, is where they initially
I
put the
don't know.
food
I
on the
don't know.
platform.
Well, regardless, they were in single digits.
Yes.
So my only point of the woman, because I didn't really write much for the first time I was with a woman, except for the fact that she too also volunteered,
Yes. She asked to go
and the
in.
fact and she was also the one who wrote down or who got him to go in because she was working with the
Yes.
administration for 25 years. So the old man thought there was 150 floors. The woman said that there was 200 floors
Yes.
that she know of.
Yes.
So the one thing I do want to hit on the woman, which her name, I want to try to say this as best as I can, Imogiri, Imogiri or Guri.
Something like that. She
I
had a
call her.
dog called
I'm
Ramesses the Second.
Ramses the second. I'm gonna call her the Shrink. Um,
Fair enough.
so I feel for her in certain ways because she's a cancer. I mean, I feel bad for her because she's a victim of cancer in the movie.
Yes.
Um, also, she kind of, for me, she represents the blind employee
Yes. Who has no idea the horrible shit
of
that's
how
really
everything
going on.
works.
Yeah.
Like for the longest time, she was at the tippy top of everything, and she didn't realize of all of the inner workings of the job she was working.
Yeah. Like she understood the premise,
Um,
the concept, but she didn't think it was as
and
bad as it actually was.
and then just watching her kind of mentally break down, going from trying to save food for the other people
Yep.
to, you know, like just not caring
Yeah. And then eventually hanging herself.
in the neck, because then that's when they were in 202 and she hung herself
Which actually, I
and
wrote
she
two
became the
notes.
second.
I wrote two
Okay.
notes that involved the woman. Well, sort of, in a way. The first note was saddest part of the movie was the death of Ramesses II. The saddest part of any film is the death of a dog. Fuck humans. And my other note is 202 is where Gorig really started to go crazy. Like
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
started, you could see him mentally breaking down.
Because he was already seeing Mr. Trimagasi as a ghost.
Yes, he started seeing him
And
almost
then
immediately upon eating him.
when she died, she became a ghost too.
Yes, and he's kept seeing them all the way to the end of the movie. Um, but yeah, 202 is where he really went insane. Like you see him marking the wall with like a piece of broken glass from one of the plates. Which you find out later he was trying to count how many floors there are. He was counting the time
Mm-hmm.
that the platform is on each level, then listening to the distance or like how long it takes to pass from one floor to the next. And his calculation there were 250
Mm-hmm.
levels.
And you are right. I was reading my notes wrong. It was floor 6.
Hmm.
Because, and the reason why I said floor 7 was because, um, floor 6, after Mr. Barat was trying to use his rope that he selected to try to get out.
Yes.
I was very surprised, however, that there was a couple
Yes.
on the platform.
Yeah. Who, in one scene, you very clearly hear having sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So either they became a couple, either they had like a long stretch, like the old man, and they became a couple, or they became a couple going in.
Yeah, I don't know how that.
Or there were a couple. They were. Yeah, neither do I.
Like, as your
However,
one
I
thing
did
to
make this
bring in, can you
observation.
bring in your spouse? They don't specify. Because the woman brought in a dog.
If one's what?
Because the woman brought in a dog. So who's to say you
I
can't
mean,
bring your
one guy
spouse?
brought in a surfboard.
Yeah,
Like,
and when I saw that, all I could think was, why a fucking surfboard? They were making fun
I
of
don't
Gorig
know.
for bringing in a fucking book. This guy brought a surfboard.
I did make an observation though. With so they were in the top 10. He was in the top 10 floors,
Yes.
right? It just completely blew my mind that the moment they finished the platform, the floor, when the food first day they got food on the floor 6 platform. When as soon as the platform went from 6 to 7, they immediately started trashing the food.
Yes. Yes, they did.
That blew my mind. I was like, oh my god, they're in the top. They're in the top 10. Like,
yeah, they did say that like the month before that they were on like floor 75 or some shit like that. Like they were really far down.
Yeah.
But that's still no excuse for, you know, doing the things they were doing to that food.
I mean, if they were on floor 75, that means they didn't get any. They almost got no food at
Yeah,
all.
they got like next to nothing, if anything. Because it's very difficult to fast for an entire month. Let's be honest here.
I will say this though, I appreciated Gorink's thought process about going all the way down and then going back all the way up on the platform.
Yep. Yeah.
And then pretty much made an ally with Barut.
Yes.
And the fact that they used their the rods underneath their cots as crowbars, basically.
They made weapons out of a bed.
Like that I appreciate
all the way down.
So something that I noticed because so you already hit on the 254 bit. And then eventually they went down. They went far enough down to where I guess Barut's mentor, I guess you could call him, because they never
you could call him that. Yeah, he just called him a wise man.
Yeah, they never specified if he was a father, grandfather. No,
they didn't.
So we're gonna say a mentor.
Yep.
The one dish that had a hair in it, the pancetta, the dessert.
Yep.
That became their symbol, as the message that there was one untouched thing.
Yeah. The idea was, don't let anybody eat this. Make sure that when the platform gets back up to the main floor, that dish is still there, perfectly intact, completely untouched. And that's supposed to be a symbol to the people above. I don't know what the hell that symbol is supposed to achieve necessarily, but
I feel like the symbol would be that, kind of along the lines of they're not going, like, they're going to fight back. Like there was, even no matter how many floors there are, no matter how many hungry people there was still at least one thing that did not get touched. What is the biggest insult to a chef?
Somebody not eating their food.
Exactly.
Yeah. As as a cook professionally, I take it as an insult if somebody isn't willing to eat my cooking.
So that's what I took from. That was the original symbol that they were going for. Um,
Okay.
Now, what really got me was the fact that they got to 250 floors and they kept going.
Yes. Yes, they did.
Um,
What
and
blew
I
my
was
mind
very
was just how far off he was about how many floors there were.
and the fact that they go to that through that many floors in one day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, which you got to think because
I mean, because you get food
well, and
every day. I'm assuming that the food, or that it doesn't, the platform doesn't stay there for probably more than 5 minutes
well,
on
also
each
we also
floor.
see that the platform doesn't stay if there's no one on that floor.
Correct. If there's nobody alive on the floor, the platform just keeps going down. It doesn't even stop at that floor.
Now, my saddest part in the movie was, well, two sad parts.
Okay.
One was the mentally challenged kid who was telling Barut that he was going to kill and eat the old man that was sick on the
Yeah.
cot.
Yeah. That
That fucked me
was
up.
pretty sad.
Like
Yeah.
that really.
I
I was like, oh
honestly
my god.
thought for sure that one of them was going to kill that kid to make sure he didn't kill the sick person.
And honestly, so they never showed that.
No.
So that part is literally for the viewer to
Yeah.
think of.
Yeah.
Like, did
It's
they? Did
whatever
they
you
not?
believe they did. I choose to
Exactly.
believe they did, honestly.
I, honestly, I feel like they did too. This just, and
Yeah.
he kind of wonders, like, is it that the viewer thinks that they did because they feel like they would?
I don't know. Maybe.
Got to think about it.
I mean, I wouldn't
Um,
if I had been in that if I had been one of those other characters, like I wouldn't want to leave that guy there after he had just said what he had just said.
yeah,
Like I wouldn't want to leave him there. I'd either kill him or force him to come with on the platform.
yeah. The other thing that really got me was when Miharu got stabbed to death.
Yes. Yeah. That that did kind of get to me too. I
And
didn't write
then,
anything down for that, but yeah.
well, like Barut took some really bad blows
Oh yeah.
with the sword. Gorink took a few bad blows.
Oh
Um,
yeah. He was strangled so fucking hard that blood was coming up out of his mouth.
yeah.
Like,
Um, so that was kind of rough because, like, you kind of grew to like this girl,
mm-hmm.
and
Or at least feel for her.
yeah, they finally managed to get down to the very last floor, floor 333.
Yep.
Still with the pancata in hand.
Mm-hmm.
And
Technically, that wasn't the
the,
bottom floor.
well, okay, so the last floor before the bottom floor,
Yes.
which which again, so as far as blind ignorance goes, back to the girl who killed herself, she told us in the movie that she did not have a child that was in the pit,
Correct. That nobody under
and
the age
she,
of 16 was permitted to be there.
exactly, she gave us so much information that I literally believed her.
So did I.
Like I was like, okay, there's no kid. Like this bitch is
Yeah.
just crazy.
Yep.
Like there's no kid. And then sure enough, on floor 333, Asian descent,
Yep.
sure enough, there is a kid. Now, at this point in the movie,
Because she
I'm
also
thinking,
said that she
okay,
had only
A,
been there for 10 months. But that kid was very clearly like, what,
9.
9? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was like 9,
9.
8, 9, 10 years old.
But at this point, I want to know why. Okay, so obviously, no food is getting down to floor 333.
Unless that woman was going down every month to bring food down to that child, protecting some of it underneath her clothes or something. And that's why
You know
she was
what? That is
fighting
a
so
very.
hard to survive.
I did not even think of that. Oh
I
my
didn't even think about
god.
that until right now, because my last note was, how did this child survive on floor 333? Or anywhere
And
for
it's
that
very
matter.
possible. It's very possible that this child was being sent to floor 333 every time.
To keep her away from
Or
everyone else.
because I highly doubt if she was like on floor 120 and she went down the floors like her mom does,
Mm-hmm.
that these like men would not do something to her.
Correct. Because you immediately
And then
see, the first time you see the woman, you immediately see the men below try to abuse the woman.
rape her.
And she ends
Yeah.
up killing both of them and continuing down on the platform.
Now, um, so whenever he went to sleep and everything, he saw a ghost. He's his atypical ghosts. The old man, the shrink. The moment that, because remember this the black man brought, he was like, the pancata is the symbol. The pancata is the symbol, and
Yes.
he finally gives in and gives her the pancata so she can eat.
Yes.
And whenever whenever Barat said to Goring that she was the symbol, I knew he was dead.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of figured he
Like,
probably was.
um, and really, the moment that uh Goring said um that she was, or he that she was the symbol, and that the symbol didn't need a messenger or something along those lines.
Doesn't need a
Um,
keeper.
yeah, she needed a keeper. Right then and there, I knew that Goring was dead too.
Yeah.
Like once he reached technically 334,
Which was just a
um,
black room, by the way. I don't know
nothing but black.
how far that room goes or what that's about, but there's nothing down there.
Yeah. So
My only
I'm gonna leave
assumption
it.
would be this
I'm
is
gonna
where the
leave it.
bodies end up, so they just like drag them off so that the bodies don't end up like of the jumpers. Some
Mhm.
bodies probably end up at that floor. They probably drag the bodies off of there so that they
So
don't
I'm
end
gonna
up
leave
back
it
at
to
the top.
you. I'm gonna leave it to you. If you want to disclose the very ending of the movie.
Um, I mean,
Me pers- Me
it's
personally, I feel
it's
like,
this is a review. If you haven't
yeah,
watched the film before you watched this, you should have gone and watched the film. Let's just be real
true.
here.
That's
So if
true.
you're watching a review of a film, you're probably going to hear spoilers. So you know, viewer discretion, I guess, whatever. Because we're here to talk about the movie in its entirety. We shouldn't have to avoid spoilers as technically reviewers because that's what we're doing. So
Well,
yes,
that's in a
we'll
few.
talk about it.
Okay, yeah. So she literally just. I personally think that anyone going that fast up would take some type of injury.
Oh yeah, and especially when it suddenly stops at the top, she'd fling off of the platform and into the ceiling at the very least.
But at that point, the movie just stops.
Yes, and
Her, her,
there
her just going.
is that you don't there. The movie doesn't wrap up anything really. All it does is show you all these people die, this girl go up, and you don't know what happens. The movie just ends while she's ascending to the top on the
Now,
platform.
I did find it interesting that when the pancata was still on the floor and the platform was down,
Hmm.
that the room didn't get hot or cold. That was the whole thing, that she, like, for some reason the floor didn't get hot or cold for the food being up there.
I hadn't thought of that. Um, huh.
So it makes you wonder: is it because that she was on that floor?
I mean, she was hiding under the bed, so maybe they just didn't know she was on that floor and they thought it was empty.
But it wouldn't matter because they would know that the food wasn't on the platform.
True. I have no idea. I don't know. The only thing I can really
I
explain that with is plot hole. It's just
I really I
they
did
had
like
to
the
let her
point
in.
where I liked it to where they were both ghosts and they were like, "Stop calling me little snail," and he says,
Hmm.
"Stop using the word silly," and
Yeah,
I was oh
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. No. Overall, honestly, it left me kind of confused in some
hmm
aspects because it doesn't really have a succinct ending. Um, Obviously, every adult character, pretty much, that you see in the entirety of the film is dead at the end. Um, and the movie just ends with this kid going up on a platform, and you don't know what the fuck happens when she reaches the top. Um, so I kind of felt like there was no real close to the movie. Now, that being said,
see
I actually did
good.
enjoy the movie.
Oh
Like,
yeah, me too.
I quite enjoyed the movie. I'm a huge fan of, like, what would you call this? Like a psychological thriller, sort of. Like,
Yes,
I'm a huge fan of these types of movies.
it definitely gave me the Circle vibes. I don't know if you've ever seen
I
that
have
movie.
not seen The Circle, but when I went to Netflix and typed in the platform into the search, it was the movie, the platform, the TV series, the platform, and the
The
next thing was
platform.
The Circle. Um,
Yeah,
I have not seen it though.
I have. It's actually a really good movie. I would definitely
Okay.
find that to be more of a sci-fi psychological thriller.
Okay.
So we would definitely, I feel like we would definitely want to get your friend on
I
for
do
that
have
one.
one more note.
So what is your last note?
My last note is, what is allowing the platform to move? There's nothing physical or corporeal that you see that moves this platform. It just moves.
Really, really strong magnets.
it it just moves. It's
like,
not
like,
connected to
like,
anything. It's just a floating platform.
like military grade magnets.
And now you see why it was like it's something that encompassed the entire film. Because throughout the film, you see that platform move so many times. And for
And really
whatever reason,
fast.
I didn't actually start to question it until the very end of the film. How and
Because
they
you
when they were,
saw.
yeah, like they were at the bottom, at the very bottom,
Mhm.
and there's just nothing. I'm like, what is moving this platform?
Really strong magnets.
It's fucking find out fucking magic. I don't know. I don't understand.
I want to believe that that these people realized that there was a child, like the cooks and the main person over that realized that there was a kid in there the whole entire time, and like they revolted or something. I don't know.
Wait, what?
So my last thought was talking about like what would happen to the kid after the kid
Hmm.
got up there.
Oh,
Like all
okay.
of the
Yeah,
employees,
so
like
you're
all the employees,
speculating
like
what would happen like after the movie ends.
yeah,
I
like
would
all
like
the
to think that
employees,
that's
like
correct. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That they would be like,
because they probably wouldn't
you
care
know
about
what?
adults.
Yeah, fuck them. Most of them are criminals anyway, so and the rest of them literally signed up for it. So, so fuck them. Who cares?
Yeah.
Um, but a child, like, that's just not okay. Um, but anyway, so I guess we'll end this with, I don't know, a rating out of 5 stars. What would you rate this movie?
See, what would I rate this?
Yeah,
I wouldn't rate this as, I don't know.
like we'll say out of
Um,
5 stars, where would you rate this film?
if you know what? No, I mean, yeah, no, I would rate it a 5.
Really?
It's a good movie. Yeah, it's a good movie. I mean,
Okay.
if I were to if I were to rate it anything lower, it's because of personal feelings about, like the time I got sick or like I
Mm-hmm.
felt sick.
But that just shows that the
Like,
movie's doing its job.
yeah, so like I can't there I have no reason to give it lower than a 5.
Okay.
Now, I did dislike the certain prejudices throughout the movie.
Okay.
Like how the old man made a comment about it. I can't remember what faith it was, but they're like, oh, we got a bunch of so and so's above us, so they don't drink alcohol.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know what he was actually saying, but yeah, he did.
But you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, other than that, it was a 5. It was,
Okay.
I mean, not a solid 5, but it was still a 5.
Okay. I think I would give it like a 4, like a 4 stars probably. Um Mostly now if I actually spoke Spanish and watched the original Spanish version, I might give it a higher rating, but some of the movie clearly the um translations were a little
Translation.
off. So that kind
If
of
we're going
made
purely
it
based
lose a bit
on
on that.
yeah, if we're going based off of that, it would be a 4.5 for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But then again, I did watch both versions.
I did not.
So
Um I only watched the the English version. So I would give it about a 4. Um Also, quit showing me maggots. I don't want to see them. It's disgusting. And just for a moment, I do want to bring up. I want to go back in time just a little bit and
okay.
and talk about the scene where Dude Bro is trying to climb up the rope.
Yeah.
Because this
It got
this
really it got really religion-y. Like it got really,
it got really religion-y. Yeah, they were talking about God. The guy was like, "Do you believe in God?" He was like, "Yeah, which God? The God."
which god.
Yeah, he was like, "Which God?" Because there are a lot of gods.
Like
There are a lot of religions
this
with a lot of
dude this
gods.
I feel like this dude was really trying to set up Barut for failure.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like
Um,
with all these questions.
and then eventually they do take Barut's rope and they allow him to climb. However, when he gets to the top, to up almost to their floor, somebody literally shits in his face.
The girl. The
Yeah,
girl.
she literally shit in his face. And I don't mean like they CGI'd some shit. I mean, you literally watch this woman shit in his face. Like, you can,
Yeah.
it's absolutely disgusting. Um,
That's actor award, actor reward, award. Yeah.
like I don't know. Anybody who's willing to literally take a turd in the face for the sake of making a film, like they deserve
Can we
quite a bit of credit.
since we're talking about this scene, can we talk about how I mean, A, he was really fast about it, but B, I mean, Goran could have just been like, "Yeah, no, I'm just gonna sit here and I'm not gonna catch him."
He could have. Yeah, he could have just let him
He
fall.
literally, if he was anybody, and mind you, it was like what his like month before last.
Yeah,
You
this was
know,
like his 5th month.
he literally could have let this dude fall
Yes,
and lived a life of luxury on floor 6 with all the
for that
food to
month. Yeah.
himself for
Yeah.
that month.
Yep. And then he only would have had 1 month left, and he'd have been out of there. Yeah.
Like, so there's
But
definitely something to
instead,
say about his
he
character.
saved his ass, and they ended up trying to basically save everyone, and it cost them both their lives.
I feel like with the girl that she's kind of like a symbol of a better society.
Yeah. Well, they kept using the term Messiah, which kind of was
He did
off-putting to me.
he did kind of look like a Hispanic Jesus. I mean,
I mean, yeah, he did kind of. But I don't know. I just it there are definitely some religious tones to this film. God is brought up a lot in this movie, and I do sort of, like you stated before, I do sort of feel like this movie is like an extreme statement on human society, and like the way our society works in general. Um, and the fact that they just keep throwing religion in there as well, and every time religion is involved, something fucked up happens. Um, it it uh it just shows, like people take their beliefs super seriously, and it's okay to believe in things. Like you should believe in things. If you don't believe in things, what the fuck are you even doing with your life? No matter what it is you believe in, like you got to believe in something. Otherwise, you're not going to really be able to get anywhere. All right. But yeah, that's all I really had left. Um yeah.
same.
All right. So, if neither one of us has anything left to say, I guess we'll end it here. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I would recommend watching this film. It is a pretty
Yes,
good film.
just not while you're
But
eating.
yeah, just don't eat it while watching. Yeah, don't eat the movie while you're watching it. Don't do it. It's bad
Eat a
for your
book.
it's bad for your digestive system. Goring did, so he eventually ate his book. Just so you know. Uh, but yeah. Anyway, so we'll end this here. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, hit the thumbs up button. Let us know that you enjoyed it. If you didn't, go ahead and hit the thumbs down button. Who gives a shit? Subscribe if you haven't
Thank you.
already. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say thank you for watching our first Juicy Bullet review.
Fuck yeah, dudes and gals, ladies and gents, fine ladies and gentlemen of the interwebs. Thank you very much.
And any dogs named Ramses.
Yeah, dogs named Ramesses the second, specifically the second. It was a very sad moment. Okay, it was a very sad moment. I almost cried. I didn't, but it
You know what? No, I didn't feel bad for that dog because that dog took a piece of food and about caused the whole room
it
to
did
turn into a
almost cause
freezing
everyone to
tundra.
die. Yeah, that's true. I just love dogs.
I mean, I love dogs too,
And
but
it was cute.
yeah, I
But
mean,
yeah, anyway, we will see you guys. I didn't have my keyboard, so I couldn't end the episode immediately after ending the after ending my statement.
take two. Oh,
We'll see you guys next time.
in the next episode.
In the next episode of Juicy Bullet Film Reviews, we will be reviewing God Doesn't Even Know What Film. You have a list,
I really,
actually.
I do have a list. It's just we'll talk about the list
Okay, we
in
will
our
talk about the
next.
list.
We'll talk about the list in our next Juicy Bullet Farm video.
In our next recorded Juicy Bullet Farm video, which will be airing about a month after this episode airs.
It's either a pick from the pick from A Nightmare Before Christmas, um, The Circle, or Edward Scissorhands.
All right, there you go. Anybody and everybody who watches this, go ahead and vote. That's the comment I want you guys to comment down below. Which one of those movies would you most like to see us review? There you go. That's the question of the day. Which one of those films do you want us to review? Anyway, we will see you then, I guess. Goodbye, everybody.